Hi everyone, welcome back to the series. Today we are diving into one of the most fundamental and frequently used data types in JavaScript string. If you have been following along, you have already worked with the string when we did our hello world example. Also, our previous lesson we simply use the string. But now we are going to understand them deeply, what they are really are, how to create them, and what the difference between string literal and the string constructor. By the end of this video, you will have a solid foundation for working with the text data in JavaScript. So let's get started. The first question is, what exactly is a string? Right? In JavaScript, a string is simple a sequence of character used to represent text. It could be a single character, word, a sentence, or even an entire paragraph. So let me show you some example. All are string. Okay. So notice something. String are wrapped in quotation. And here's the something important. In JavaScript, you can use single quote or double quotes or even the backtick to create string. No problem. All are working properly fine. Okay. So all three of these are valid string. Single and double quote work identically for basic string. Backticks are special. They are called template literal and have an extra feature we will explore later. For now, just remember strings represent text and they are wrapped in quotes. Now, the question is single literal. So now let's talk about the most common way to create a string literal. A string literal is when you simply write the string value directly in your code, wrapped in quotes with some text like this. Okay, I mean this is straightforward, right? You are literally writing the string value, hence the name is literal, right? String literal are the preferred and most common way to create string because they are simple, readable, and efficient. We will use this approach 99% of the time. So key point is okay. There is another example here. Let me show you. You notice it's called the empty string. Okay, this last one. You can even create empty string by just putting the quotation with the nothing between them. The key point is when using the string literal, JavaScript automatically creates a string primitive for you. It's simple, it's fast, and it's what you should use by default. Okay. Now the string constructor. There is another way to create a string in JavaScript, and that's using the string constructor. And what is the string constructor? And this is string constructor. Okay, great. When you are using this string, then it's printed as a string. Okay, and if you are using this function or constructor, then it called the string constructor. Actually, it's called and you can create a string object, not a string primitive, with this new string. Okay. Now you might be wondering, what's the difference? They both hold text, right? Yes, but there are important difference. Let me show you. See that the literal give us a primitive string, but the constructor give us an object, right? This is a type of the literal, and this is a constructor. It's give you an object. Okay, let me show you something even more interesting. Now, why is this happen? When you compare primitive string with the same value, they are equal because the JavaScript compares their value. But when you compare string object, JavaScript compare the object reference, not the value. Since the string 3 and string 4 are two different objects in memory, they are not equal even though they contain the same text, right? But they are not equal. And that's the difference. Sometimes we need to use this. So be careful and remember those words. And we are not oftenly use this method. Most of the case we are using this. Okay, anyway. Now, why we use literals? That's a good question. And this is the big question. If both methods create a string, then which one should you use? The answer is simple. Always use the string literals unless you have a very specific response reasons not to. Okay. Without any reason, you don't need to use this string constructor. Always use the string literal. So there is a 2 point I already note down. The one is the performance, another is simplicity. For performance, string literal are fast. JavaScript can optimize them better because they are primitive. And the second is the simplicity. Literal are cleaner and easier to read, right? You see, this is literally clean. And this was you need to put the new keyword, then string, then the parenthesis, then you are putting the string value, right? Oh, okay. There is something more like comparison issue. As we just saw, string object don't compare the way you did expect. And fourth is the memory. Primitives use less memory than object. Okay, it's stored in the memory, and this memory take little bit longer than this one. Okay, in fact, you will rarely see the string constructor used in real world scenario. Most JavaScript developer stick with the literals exclusively. Okay. Why? Okay. Our fourth topic is primitive wrapper. Now, here is something that might seem confusing at first. If string created with the literal are primitive and not object, how can we call the methods on them, right? So, look at this. Name, then in the console log, name dot to uppercase. Then it should be look like this, John, in the uppercase, right? Even if the name is primitive, but still it's give you the result, right? Actually, what is happening here? JavaScript has a clever feature called the auto boxing or primitive wrapping. When you are trying to access a property or method, okay, access a property and or method on a string primitive, JavaScript temporarily converts it to a string object, access the method, and then immediately convert it back to the primitive. Okay, so that's why JavaScript called a dynamic programming language. One of the interesting facts you can say that it's automatically JavaScript understood. JavaScript is smart. They understand what is your intention was. Another code is this name dot to uppercase, then new string dot name, then to uppercase. Actually, these happen, right? Actually, these happen automatically and instantly. So you get the best of both worlds. The efficiency of the primitive and the functionality of object. Pretty cool, right? Great. Now comes up with the experience. I mean the practical example. Let's pull this all together with some practical example. Maybe it would be great to understand in deep. See, there is a user email and bio, and this is the type of the console log. You get this string, and we can still use the method on them with user.length, email.uppercase to uppercase, or include the another JavaScript here. It's testing and it's written the boolean below because you are actually includes mean the you are checking there is a in this text if there is any JavaScript word. If it is, then it's written the true. Okay, but remember avoid the constructor. Like don't do this. Okay, because this object not what we want, and always try to do this. This is the correct way and this is the wrong way because for simplicity this was the good and only for the very specific reason we are using this constructor. Okay, all right. Let's recap what we learned today. String represent text data and are wrapped in quotes. String literal are the preferred way to create a string. Simple, fast, and efficient. The string constructor create a string object which you should generally avoid. String primitive and the string object behave differently, especially in the comparison. JavaScript automatically wraps primitive when you need to access the methods. Okay. Now, in the next video, we will explore the string escape notation, how to include the special character like quotes, new line, and tab in your string. Until then, practice creating the string using literal. Experiment with the differences we discussed. and I will see you in the next one. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.